What up, everybody? This is Big Back Sports, bringing you sports at its finest, 49ers football. We are talking about the AFC and NFC Championship game this week between the San Francisco 49ers and the Eagles. And in the AFC, we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cincinnati Bengals. So there's first things first, the San Francisco 49ers have already landed in Philadelphia, and they're getting ready to go head-to-head, toe-to-toe with the Philadelphia Eagles in their stadium in Lincoln Field. So what I predict right now is going to happen is that the San Francisco 49ers are going to win this one 27-17. That's my prediction. There is going to be a lot of defensive plays, big plays going to happen this Sunday in that matchup. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel good about the Chiefs winning this one, but kind of rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals so that way they can meet the San Francisco 49ers once again in the Super Bowl. This time there won't be any icky shuffle. It'll be more like the Purdy day happening. So San Francisco 49ers are ready to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was just listening on to a broadcast earlier. It was Eagles fans. And, you know, they were saying everything about the San Francisco 49ers, that they're not going to be able to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, how they have a better defense and everything. They just talk like that. But that's their team. They have the right to talk like that. It's okay. That's why, like Chris Berman says, that's why they play the game. Just got to wait till Sunday to see who's going to win. So just going back over to the AFC real quick, I see Patrick Mahomes. He's not 100% healthy, but I think that he's going to be able to pull it off for them and win that game and go to the Super Bowl and meet the San Francisco 49ers there. We will know who will be in the Super Bowl on Sunday because the San Francisco 49ers and the Eagles play first, and then the Chiefs and the Bengals play second. So it's just we're going to know for sure who is going to be the better player on this team, San Francisco against the Eagles. Why do I say that? Because Brock Purdy and Hurts already played each other back in college, where Hurts, they won by 1 point. He had the better talent around him. He had the receivers, everything. The Eagles do have a lot of talent. They have tons of talent on the offensive side. They got a ton of talent over there. And they're going to be able to need to play as hard as they can to beat the Eagles. It's that Eagles line is stacked. They got some veteran players in there, and they're really stacked. So just looking forward to that matchup between an Eagles pass rush that's really good. I mean, they had over 70 sacks. They're really good on the pass rush, but what about the rushing defense? They're not so well equipped for preventing the good teams to run on them, and even bad teams ran on them. I mean, if you went back and looked at that game against the Eagles versus the Saints, all they did was run, run, and run. They ran right through that defense. And I'm looking at the way that the San Francisco 49ers is going to attack this this Eagles defensive line. They're gonna run at them. Why not? It's just the best thing that they can do is just rush against this Eagles defensive line, even though they got some big guys there. But I think the San Francisco 49ers this year, the difference between this year and last year's NFC Championship game is that Trent Williams is healthy. You know, he on the left side, he's healthy and he can move. If you looked at last year also, McGlinchey, he was hurt. He was out. He wasn't playing. But they're both healthy this year. I see the 49ers establishing the run early and frequently as they go up against the Eagles front that was ranked 21st. And so the San Francisco 49ers should be able to run to have a good running day against them. And when I say run, I don't mean just Christian McCaffrey. Let's not do that. I don't mean just lining up Mitchell and letting him run. You got to let everybody run. And I think those jet sweeps is going to be good too with Deebo Samuel and also Ray McLeod. He showed that he could do that also. But I feel like with the Juwan Jennings being able to block downfield, they can really establish the run early in this game coming up on Sunday, and they'll wear down that defense. Now, when they wear down that defense, then they can start throwing on them, because not only do they wear down the line, they're going to wear out those defensive backs and those linebackers by just getting to those second and third level in blocking. And so they can have their way with this Eagles team if they don't have jet lag, and they'll be able to really do the things that they need to push around that Philadelphia Eagles team. The other thing is we're really physical. The San Francisco 49ers are really physical, so they can just pound on them for the first and second quarters, and then third quarter just take over from there. And a lot of the big media, they're saying that the Eagles are going to beat the Niners by a lot of points, but I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all on Sunday. What I see happening is our linebackers are going to play well, and I hope D'Amico uses Talanoa Hufanga as that spy to spy on Jalen Hurts. And if you guys noticed in the last game that the Giants played against the Eagles, Hurts was sliding a lot. He didn't want to get hit on that shoulder that's bothering him, that kept him out for 2 games. In those 2 games, they lost those 2 games. But I think they lost those 2 games because the rushing attack from the Cowboys and the Saints was really good. So their lines showed up, and they did a good job of attacking that Eagles front. So on the defensive side, Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead has to do a lot better than they did in the last game, and especially Armstead. He's got to make that tackle. If you see a quarterback and you're kind of like hesitating to hit that quarterback, just freaking plug him. I mean, it was the end of the game. It would have been a safety, but who cares? It would have been 15-yard penalty, but I don't think he would have got a penalty if he would have just sacked them inside the end zone. I mean, wrap. That's why they teach you to hit and wrap. And he didn't do that. All he did was kind of like give him a little hug and released him. And then he went up and made a pass. And we see that that's not going to be very effective if they end up thinking like that and having that kind of psyche of thinking that just to let them run. Hurts can really hurt. I mean, he can really hurt the 49ers on Sunday by using his legs and coming out and scrambling. And he can really do that. But, one thing that I did see from a lot of Brock Purdy highlights back in college is he ran a lot too. I mean, you don't have the kind of offensive line that the bigger college schools have, that he can stay in the pocket and not be worried of getting sacked. But right now, he's got a really good offensive line. And I mean, McGlinchey at times, he's questionable. He's a really good run blocker. But he's still a lot better than Tom Compton that we had last year. So just think about that. And then the other thing is our linebackers are really fast. So they'll be able to go sideline to sideline and run down Jalen Hurts if they need to. But I think that he's not going to be throwing like he did in the last game against the Giants, because the Giants do not have the number one defense in the NFL. And I know Philly has some really good players on that team, not knocking on them, but I mean, you just got to tell it like it is. The eye test is there. The Philadelphia Eagles is going to have a long day with that San Francisco 49ers defense, especially with our linebackers. I watched the first game that Philadelphia lost, and the thing that stood out the most was the way that the linebackers played in that game. They filled the gaps really fast, and they went, downhill pretty quickly. And when they pressure Jalen Hurts, it makes him want to rethink of where he wants to throw the ball. So you can just look at some of the games from the just this year, and you can see that happening. Last year, I put on the game from the Eagles and the 49ers week 2. That was like ages ago. But in that game, they had a lot of pressures on the Eagles, and they won that game 17-11. But because they kept pressuring and pressuring. So from Max Reacts, how will the Eagles offensive line react to the Niners physical defensive line? Well, the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And so it's going to be hard for even the 49ers defense to go up against that offensive line, but there's some places in there that they can attack. And one of those places that they can attack is the big man from down under, from Australia. They can attack that side. So I was watching some of the games, and Jordan Mailata, he seemed to give up some sacks and on that Eagles side. So if Nick Bosa lines up on that side, and I think he'll get some sacks there. So that's how I think that the Eagles offensive line reacting to the Niners physical defensive line, they're really physical also. They're big boys. So they'll be able to have their way with the 49ers defense if they don't come to play. So, but I think the Niners defense is ready. They're ready to go and ready to come back at these guys. So appreciate the comment. Okay, to the next thing that we need to do is protect the ball. Protect the ball. The 49ers need to protect the ball, especially on special teams. So special teams, what did they do? They gave up a fumble last week. So that's one of the things that they need to do, is be better at protecting the ball. And Ray McLeod's got to do a lot better in handling the ball and making sure he knows whether to fair catch the ball or take it and run with it. He's done a really good job with that. And he was able to. I mean, throughout the whole season, just one time he didn't drop the ball. It got stripped from him, and so he was able to recover from that with a 50-something yard kickoff return. But you got to protect the ball. So that's one of the keys that they need to do to be able to um, win the game on Sunday. Is they got to limit turnovers and unnecessary penalties. They just gotta play their game. Um, one thing that one thing that one thing that San Francisco did against the Seattle Seahawks was just play their game. I got a call in here. It's from T. Are you in there? Kabake fe hu mai he mea o ku tuupe he ipsenolo. Speak a little Tongan. Yeah, it's on StreamYard.com on just on the post comment. So if you want to get in, I got it. I got the link up on there, so you can just hop on in. Just go to at Big Mac Sports on YouTube, and then you'll see it right there on the comments side, and then just jump right on in. If anybody wants to come on in. So special teams has got to do their job. We know that Robbie Gould, he's a really good kicker and everything, but we just need not to have him be the one to come in and be the playmaker. We need all of our playmakers on Sunday to do what they are paid to do. And that's from Deebo Sanders to Ayuk, McCaffrey, Mitchell, Kittle, Juszczyk, all of those guys. They got to really jump in there and do what they are meant to do, be playmakers, and not leave it up to a field goal kick at the end of the game or during the game. And they need to be able to just come in and handle business. One thing that the coach, Pete Carroll, said when talking about the San Francisco 49ers is that they just line up and they show you exactly what they're going to do, and they're going to do it, and they're going to execute. So that's what Pete Carroll said about facing the 49ers defense. So both sides, offense and defense, the defensive lines has got to play a really clean game come Sunday. They're going to be facing some big guys, some playmakers on that Eagles side. And the one thing that I'm not really worried, because I went back and took a look at all the games that the Eagles lost and who they lost to. Okay. So, and who they barely beat. They barely beat the Arizona Cardinals, barely beat the Colts. They beat the Colts by 1 point. And the biggest weakness that they have is their linebacker unit. Their linebacking core, their unit is they're not that good. So I see Kyle Shanahan scripting up plays that's going to feature the running game a lot faster, a lot better on Sunday. And I think they're going to do a lot better than they did in the past. Now, a lot of people talk about Christian McCaffrey, his calf strain. He said he's going to play on Sunday, so I take his word for it. Also, Elijah Mitchell, his hamstring, he's going to play on Sunday. They're all clear to play, except for one, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not going to play, and I don't see him being activated, even if they get into the Super Bowl. Or maybe they will activate him if the 49ers win that game, that they will have him come in there for the last 2 minutes. So that's what I see happening with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he's gonna line after the Super Bowl. I'm calling it here. They're not going to be able to. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo will be his last game with the San Francisco 49ers, and we'll see him in that San Francisco 49ers uniform for the last time. And then maybe he'll go to the Jets. Who knows? Robert Saleh's over there probably waiting for somebody like him to come and play for him, because that experiment with Wilson didn't happen. So I think that we will be able to. Oh, I see somebody commenting. I think the Niners D is going to win this game for sure if they play like they did against the Seahawks, or even last week. Last week against the Cowboys, they did a really good job. So yeah, they're going to, and that's from Uno. His comments. I think the Niners D is going to win this game. So yeah, they're going to win this game if the defense plays well. You know for sure the offense is going to play well, and Brock Purdy's going to have a day. I think he's going to have a really good day because that linebacker group is not that fast, and they don't have anybody like who's the guy from the Cowboys, Michael Parsons. So Michael Parsons is not going to be there trying to chase him down with that speed. So I think I can see Purdy doing at least 50 yards on Sunday, scrambling out if he gets into trouble. But the one thing that I think is going to happen is Talanoa Hufanga is going to be that spy to spy on the San Francisco, or to spy on Jalen Hurts. So that's one of the things that I think is going to happen. So going back to the offensive side with Brock Purdy, he makes really good decisions. He's so poised. He's seen. I mean, just imagine if you were just a rookie, young kid coming out of college, and you don't play the whole year until the 13th week, where the starting quarterback gets hurt, and then you get thrust into the game. So he's a rookie quarterback jumping in against that Miami team who was hot, by the way. They came in really hot, and they were talking about Tua Tagovailoa, or I think that's how you say his name. So they were talking about Tua being a MVP or something like that, because he was having a really good year, even after that scare where he had that episode from his being hit hard on the head. So Miami was coming in hot. I think they lost the game right before that, but they were still a hot team coming into that game against the San Francisco 49ers, where Jimmy Garoppolo went down, and then they inserted Brock Purdy in there. And I'm going to continue to say it. Brock Purdy is the hit man Brock Purdy. And that's the WWE. I'm just putting it out there, where he's going to be hitting George Kittle down the middle on Sunday, which he did on this past Sunday against the Cowboys, not once but twice. And we know what happened there. Okay, so back to the offense. The offensive line, they really came together, because in the beginning of the year they're really shaky, and it didn't seem like they were going to get anywhere. But they were able to get really solidified because they played together. Now the San Francisco 49ers, they started off 3-4, and then from there they went on this win streak coming into Sunday's game against the Eagles. So Uno says, tell you the truth, it's going to be the 49ers against the Bengals in the big game. That's what I wanted to see. I want to see the Eagles play, the Bengals against the 49ers in the big one, because it'll take me back to the days back in the 80s when we had the Icky Shuffle, and those were good games back then. So it'll be a really good one if the 49ers and the Bengals play in the Super Bowl. I think we'll have all kind of people talking about back to the 80s, where Montana faced off against the Bengals, which we beat. The Niners beat them twice, I believe, in the 80s. Um, and so there you go. The 49ers, I would love to see that against the Bengals. Um, a lot of people are hoping for that. They think that the Bengals are going to beat the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs is going to win, but I you can't. Mahomes is just Mahomes. I think he's going to come through and be able to do his thing and take the Chiefs to the Super Bowl and play the Niners again. But I really hope that it is the Bengals against the Niners in the Super Bowl. So that's one of the that would be a good storyline to go back and play the Bengals, Niners and Bengals again. What is it? That's over 30 something years, and it's one thing that I can say is if they do make it all the way and they play in Glendale in Arizona, the it's gonna be a Brock Purdy party all the way through because that's actually one of the 49ers home away from home because in the pandemic they were able to that's where they had to go. They had to move to Arizona and play in Arizona because of the restrictions and everything that happened in Santa Clara. So Uno says, but I don't think Mahomes is going to be able to run because of that injury unless he's got bionic legs. Man, that's what I thought in the last game too. And they still came back and they won that game. So I mean, Debo Sanders, he got hurt in that Tampa Bay game and he's back running. And I didn't ever say this, but when they played the Seattle Seahawks and he had that little, I think it was like a 10, 15-yard pass from Brock Purdy, he took it 74 yards. In that instance, I think he was like 95% healthy. But the one thing that I saw in that is that he kind of set up those linebackers and those fast guys from Seattle Seahawks, where he kind of took them in and then he just took it back outside with a good block from Ayuk that sprang him free. But when he took off, it's just like he had just a different kind of burst going through that sideline on that play. And bionic legs, yeah, that's just like I'm just referring back to Debo being able to take it to the house after an injury that he had, which we thought it was over. I thought it was going to be over. I didn't think the season was going to be over, but I thought that one particular injury that he had, it was over because it looked like he was grabbing his knees and his then it came back later that it wasn't as bad as it was going to be, that he's expected to miss just a few games and be back. And I'm glad it turned out good. So that's one of the things that we can look for on Sunday. I think Debo is going to have a heck of a game on Sunday. Just look for that to happen. After being called out by Micah Parsons, like, what did you do on Sunday? I saw Debo do a lot of good things on Sunday. He didn't make any breaking plays or anything like that, but just for him being on the field, it took away from that defense where they knew they had to spy on him. So I think that Debo is going to have a really good game, and I think that the other guy is going to have a really good game. I think both of our receivers are going to have a good game. Ayuk is going to have a good game because his route running is just going to whoever's between Ayuk and Jennings, their route running is crazy, and I mean Jennings has really good moves too. So I look for that to happen on Sunday. Is for those two to have a good game, and also George Kittle. So let me know what you guys think. What's the score going to be on Sunday? Mine is 27-17 is what the score is that I think it's going to be. And let me know in the chat below And so my 30 minutes is here. I was going to just do this show for 30 minutes and then come back tomorrow for another one. So appreciate everybody. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you tomorrow.